excited about this one today. This is in my wheelhouse for sure. We are going to talk about how to tell your story in your marketing in a meaningful way. We just left a Zoom mastermind in your coaching group with Kip Knipple, the CEO of Kip Search. We already do this and we already know how important this is, but we got to hear from an outside perspective how important it is to truly be shouting your story from the rooftops. We may say that, but you may not know how to do that yourself. So today we're really going to hit why you should do it, mistakes people make, and how we do it in hopes to sort of inspire whoever's listening to this to get loud, proud, confident, no matter what industry or what they're doing or how far along they are in their journey. So I'm super excited.
Telling your story is everything on selling your business to everyone. You always hear about the elevator speech, being able to say a meaningful thing in a short amount of time. But this goes into so many parts of your business. Sorry, I'm choking on something. You go now.
Choke later.
Yeah, I'll choke later.
I like to kind of give this disclaimer at the beginning of us sitting down if I feel like it may be very industry specific to landscapers, or if it's something that like anyone could get something out of, because those are the most impactful things that we come across. Kip, for instance, is not connected really to the landscaping industry at all, but he just sat down with our group and gave straight gold. And I think we all left like, holy shit, he's a professional headhunter and a recruiter. And it was like, gave us so many ideas that someone who works sort of in a totally different world than us was able to have us sit down. And that's why I like to say that this is so big for any industry, what we're about to say. I think the most powerful things can come from that outside perspective.
It was amazing to see the amount of gold that he brought to the conversation, and just really hearing him talking about telling our story, or telling your story as a business owner in that hiring process, and what you can achieve with that, and not just throwing out there your hey, this is what the job details of this position, but really saying, hey, I'm hiring this position, and here is the story of our company. Come be a part of our journey.
And it expands so much bigger through than just recruiting, even though I know like many people's biggest struggles is recruiting and hiring right now. I'm thinking specifically about someone who, kind of an acquaintance of mine who just started a business as a doula. And that's something that rings close to me because that's something I did a couple years ago as well. And I see her starting to tell her story and get her name out there. And I think it's so beautiful to see, because so many of us are scared to tell our story, or we're not natural storytellers. So when I say, tell me your story, it may be like, yeah, I started this a few months ago and that's it. Or yeah, I've been doing this a few years and that's it, because that's truly, and there's nothing wrong with that, but that's truly all that comes into your mind versus someone who like me, who's in marketing or has a marketing sort of creative mind, may think, oh my God, I have to tell you all these little bits and pieces about our story because it's been such a journey, and I think that's what we want to open up today, is that even if you started last month, and no matter what you have started, you have a very deep, meaningful story that started long before your business started.
Why did you start? What's the purpose? Like, all these things are your story. And it was something we spoke on. We brought up someone that I'd done a podcast with before. We brought up the business was new. He's like, oh, well, we won't talk about that. That is the story. That's a part of the story. Don't feel like just because you're starting, just because you're at X level, this level, don't feel like that's bad. Tell your story for all the amazing, cool things that have happened and where you are, and then sell the values of you being where you are, the bonuses, the benefits of you being where you are.
The beautiful thing about telling your story in your marketing is that it's a bigger piece. It connects a business, what you're doing, with who you are as a person. And you're connecting with other real people who have maybe experienced these same things or had these same feelings when you dive into your experiences. Maybe they've never started a business, but they really connect with that part of your past that you're vulnerably sharing, or they connect with your goals for the future, or they connect with the struggle and the feelings that you would highlight in your story that got you to where you are. And I kind of think when I talk about this, I think about a bag of chips. A lot of times you'll find a story and how that company started. And maybe it started with parents who wanted a healthier option for their kids, or it started, 100 years ago with a grandpa and a potato field, whatever it was. I mean, that's marketing. That's a company telling its story in a really cool way. And they've incorporated it into the bag of chips that you're sitting there like, waiting for a ride or whatever, eating a bag of chips, and you read that and you learn something really cool. And whether you know it or not, it sticks with you. We can do so much more and so much better and connect with so many more people as candidates and clients, the community, competitors, however, if we start telling our story.
I mean, I think everyone can relate to this. I just challenge you to look at, and let's just talk our industry. So the three people, think of three competitors, and I got to imagine what has been your experience. When you look at those three competitors, you find the one area you find is a little about tab on their website. And how underwhelming is it usually what's actually put into that?
And especially I think about us who we just moved to Florida. So we're meeting and networking with a whole new group of competitors, for lack of a better word. Really, it's, our community and people who know what we do better than anyone else. And it's really cool to meaningfully connect with those people. And you've already connected with someone who's been doing it for probably 20 years. You've also connected with someone who just quit their full-time job and is taking this full-time. And it's really cool to meet those different people. But I'd love to know their whole story. I'd love to know what inspired them. What's their plan? When did this start? How did this start? And what has it become to get to what it is now? Mm-hmm. Or the person who just quit their full-time job. Man, that must have been terrifying. How's it going? People connect with people at the end of the day, and you should utilize your role in your company. If you're not a total absentee owner that has nothing to do with their company, then maybe you just become that story on a chip bag. But if you're really integrated into your company, you should be talking about this. I want to touch on first the biggest mistakes I see people make, and I know that you will resonate with this as well.